Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander Clash podcast, where we talk all things Commander. And this week, we are live at the Westgate in-person podcast. We're going to talk about the best and worst mechanics for Commander. Join with me is Tomer, Budget Commander. Good to
Hello.
see you in the flesh, Tomer.
I know, this is so weird, right? We're all together.
Yeah.
This is a physical person.
Yeah, you can actually.
It's a green
That's
screen.
what
Don't
you're-
forget.
yeah.
He's gonna start clicking.
Editor will fix it in post.
Krim, the Asian Avenger, you're awake.
Yes, and also learning that I'm the shortest person.
You already knew that.
I mean, yes, but it's always a gentle reminder when I stand next to Seth how much shorter I am than him.
That's because I'm the tallest person.
We have him on the shortest seat.
Seth, probably better than the Saffron Olive. We gave him the shortest seat to kind of balance.
Try to even it out a little bit.
Helps me, my ego and everything.
Phil, Brewer's Kitchen, how was
Hi-ho.
your international flight?
Long, but fine.
And full of ice cream.
Oh yeah, we got some crazy food on the
We had
plane.
some of the
I won't
best
complain.
airplane food of all time. We're on the same flight. So
And discipline. After a, 15-hour flight, went to sleep, woke up, hit the gym already this morning. Disgusting.
Not up
Disgusting.
for debate.
I am the Codfather Richard, and while Phil was hard at work, I was sleeping. And I didn't even have a time zone change. So today we're going to talk about the best and worst mechanics for Commander. But before we do that, we have sponsors, which I did not pull up whatsoever. So, we can just make it up. We can just make it up.
no, you could just copy paste from the last one, right? And you just pop it.
No. Okay,
Just
okay.
mouth it, probably.
We are just going to wing it, okay? I have done this for like 170 episodes or something.
I'm interested.
We're gonna wing the sponsorship.
Ad read.
This is from the Heart Boys. Today's show is brought to you by Ultimate Guard, premium protection for your trading cards.
Woo!
Even though we don't have any of our accessories here, all the deck boxes, sleeves, playmats you see on the channel are brought to you by Ultimate Guard. If you can see behind
There it is.
Best in the game.
I brought my
and
hive.
Card Conduit, the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. You can save all the time. Oh boy, all the time, effort, and hassles associated with buy listing by using Card Conduit. They will sort. You just sort. This is bad. This is bad, boys.
You can use their sorted service where you list and sort cards in advance
Yes.
and pay just a 2% fee.
You can get
Wow.
10% off by heading over to cardconduit.com/mpggoldfish. That's fine. Nailed it. Nailed
Not
it.
the shuffling smooth like saffron olive.
That's in
Yeah, that's
relation to
Ultimate Guard.
Katana.
Okay. Look, TLDR,
Professional.
Card Conduit good, Ultimate Guard good. That's what you need to
Yay.
know, okay?
Ad read medium.
Ad read is irrelevant.
And go
Came
to our
from the
merch.
heart.
All right, it's time for the Ultimate Guard comment of the week. I did not memorize this one. We gotta pull it up. And last week, doesn't matter what we talked about because the top comment is Wob Gang 1234. Surely the number one reason to skip Fierce Guardianship, Tomer, surely, is having money to get your boyfriend a key to the apartment.
We have two
How is
keys.
that possible?
We have two keys. By the way, we had somebody staying with us.
Uh-huh.
They took the extra key, and therefore he didn't have a key. And
It's
I.
always.
Why not 3? Why
Why
not
not
one?
one?
Well, am I made out of money? All right, maybe if we go to our m3goldfishmerch.com and buy some stuff, we can afford it.
$5.
It's not $5. What? It's like $40.
What?
What? You don't
It's
get the.
$5.
I told you,
If
we
you
will
just
take,
laid
we
off
go to Home Depot, I'll make you 50 keys. Tomer.
Okay, we'll see. That's some good EV.
All right, best and worst mechanics for Commander. Tomer, let's start with the positives.
Okay,
Hit us with a good mechanic.
I picked probably an easy slam dunk, which is just the Monarch mechanic. For those who don't know the Monarch, there's a bunch of cards that say like you become the Monarch, and it introduces something that's like essentially an emblem into the game, where at the beginning of your end step, if you are the Monarch, you get to draw a card. It's like a very simple text, very clean. And the way to get the Monarch is either playing a card that says you become the Monarch, or if you deal combat damage to a person who has the Monarch, then you become the Monarch, and then at the end of your turn, you draw a card. I love this mechanic because it encourages people to be aggressive. And I feel like a lot of Commander games, you're very much encouraged not to do that. Because there's three people who can be attacking you at any given time, you're very defensive oriented. You're like, I don't want to attack because then people can attack me and I might die. So you're very much not wanting to do that. But Monarchy, just for a single card, which is not really like make or break or anything, for a single card, I've seen like the most defensive people fighting for their life to get that Monarchy, and I think that's amazing for the game, and it's so simple. So I think this is a slam dunk one, right? What do you guys think?
Oh yeah.
There's
That's
people
probably
who
my
outsmart
favorite.
it.
Yeah.
The people start with the Monarchy, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so clean because like they tried to redo it with Initiative, and Initiative's still like okay, I think, but it's like so much messier. There's so much text. It's way more complicated. Just like the Monarch is so simple.
Draw a card.
Yeah, just like very pure mechanic.
So they're gonna make a new one. It's like get a treasure token.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
not,
with
right?
that.
I'd be
I'd be
down.
down with that.
I mean, that gets me to attack. That's
Yeah. It'd be
anything
good
else.
attack.
Yeah.
I've seen Seth become like a bloodthirsty aggro
I
player.
need that card.
Even like
I
with
need
his
that
Mulch,
card.
he's like, my Mulch just gotta attack now. I
My
guess.
Flibblethip is getting in there.
Yeah.
It also, if they would give us more mana cards, mana dogs became very bad recently, I guess. At least in our meta. And I would play a little mana
They
dog.
can
or
chip
two.
in with your land.
Maybe not a bird.
Draw a card, lose 5 mana dorks after the inevitable wrath. I don't know if I play mana dorks just to get the mana.
But it would be cool to see cool, like sweet new designs, like an elf that taps for 3 mana if you're the monarch or something like that. Okay, maybe that's a little plus. No, like there should be more cards that can introduce the monarch.
Like a mana dog that also swings.
They have a
and becomes-
couple. There's Queen Marchesa, which is a very popular commander
Right.
that I think if you're not the monarch, then she makes tokens for you. There's Keeper.
cycle.
Yeah.
Where like if you're the
Oh, the
yeah,
court
yeah,
cycle,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
the court
yeah,
cycle,
yeah.
those are very
Yeah, yeah.
popular. They become more powerful if you have the monarchy. So there's a couple of those.
I like those designs. I think the all or nothing ones are a little more hit or miss because then if you're not the monarch, your card just doesn't do anything.
I think it's
But the ones are like do something that's okay, but if you're the monarch, do something really good. I like
Oh,
those
the throw
designs
ones.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
they're too good though that I don't know. Monarch becomes too powerful,
cycles too
and then you become
good.
like, oh, I'm just a pillow fort deck, and it's like,
You think it's too strong?
Your reward is the card. You don't need more buffs, right? Like if you play a court deck, like you just Glacial Chasm. You know, you pillow fort up, and then they do ridiculous things when you have the monarch. Plus, you're drawing the cards. So like, yeah, it's fine, but you don't need that. The card is your reward, right? So
I don't want
Would
it
it
to
be
be
cool? I don't know. I like the the playing with all the monarch cards, all the buffs that you get. I think that's sweet. I wish more cards introduced it, and then you can also steal the monarch.
yeah,
back with-
I like the Marchesa effect where you can steal the
Yeah.
monarch in different ways.
Yeah, like that's fun. I think like playing with the monarch is cool. Although, how come we don't like plane chase? I mean, I think we should be playing with plane chase. That's fun, right?
I've never played with it. So
kind of like in the realm of silver border.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when it's not legal, it's like, but I like it. It's fine.
It's for me. It's kind of like Milmir or something, where it's fun once in a while. But I would not want every commander game to be plane chase. I don't think.
Wouldn't that what it would pretty much be that though if we started having like, oh, when we swing you get a treasure, right?
Yeah, but it's not official rules, right? Like once
True.
it becomes official rules, everyone will probably play it. But it's like silver border, right?
Yeah. But I would love to do it every once in a while. Like if somebody said, "Hey, for this game, do you want to do plane chase?" I'd be 100% on board. I just wouldn't want it every single time.
I played one last Magic Con with people because someone had like a plane chase pie on a deck and we played it and it was super fun. But then I played a bunch of normal games after that and those were
Yeah.
also super fun.
Have you played the new revamped then Arch Enemy?
I haven't played it. Any of
It's
these.
so fun. Okay,
Don't you
yeah.
play that every week, Crim?
Yeah, I play it every week, so it's
No
just-
wonder Grim likes
Yeah,
it.
it's
There's
great.
a lot of
It's
experience.
great.
And he keeps bringing out these like overpowered cards that stacks up.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like,
They're not
I don't know why,
overpowered.
man.
I play like 2/2s.
All right, Crim. What's a good mechanic? What's a good commander mechanic?
You know, I think one mechanic that I really liked that came from the fact that we often talk about like how designing for a commander and all of that has been kind of a downside, but I think some cool stuff has really come out of it, and I think one of those is like Encore. Encore, I don't know, a card off the top of my head is like Rakshasa Debaser, right? When you get to pay some amount of money, like 9 mana, 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 and then you get to put it into play when it attacks. It has like 4 copies, and it swings and it reanimates something from each player's graveyard. I think that's just a sweet mechanic for Commander because one card, you're always worried about like, okay, well, if I do this against this one opponent, how do I keep up with the card advantage of the 2 other players at the table? And I think Encore kind of allows you to do that and allows you to also apply pressure. I do like that it is a body that's hitting you, just giving you 3 bodies entering and helps you keep pace with the rest of the table. And I think that's just overall fun.
It's like Myriad
Myriad.
meets with Graveyard synergy. Like
Yeah.
Myriad's very similar, where if you attack with the original, you make attacking versions of this. But this one is more interesting, I think, because the creature could die and then you get value out of it, or your Graveyard deck, you can self mill it,
Yeah.
and then you have a little bit more options. And yeah, I do like these. I like Myriad for the same reason, where it's like you don't have to be like, oh, I'm picking on you don't have to worry about like somebody being like, oh, you're picking on me, why are you attacking me? It's like, no, I'm attacking everybody and I'm applying pressure. And it also is an easy way for these cards to scale up to multiplayer too, where the more opponents you have, they continually be the exact same effectiveness or even more effective. They have a good like attack trigger or something for you.
I think that's one of the biggest upsides of both of those mechanics, right? Is it turns creatures that otherwise probably wouldn't be good enough to really see playing Commander into like pretty good creatures because they actually like scale up for the multiplayer format.
It's good. I mean, my favorite one is the golem. It's like I don't
Oh,
know,
the
like a
9/9.
9/9.
And then when
like,
it dies, it makes like
Encore,
3
yeah.
more. Yeah.
I always jam it in every deck. They're like, oh, you're playing Eldrazi? No, I'm just playing this thing. And like, yeah, that's my win con, right? And it actually works.
Is it Phyrexian Triniform? Is that the
There's one that was like, it's a pirate. I forget if it's based on artifacts or lands, but it's like it has trample, and it's like I think the number it gets plus X plus O, where X is the number of lanes your opponents control or something
Oh,
like
it's
that.
the red tiefling. It's from the D&D set.
Was it a tiefling or was it based on an art? It was like one of those.
They
It was a
check on
pirate, and yeah, it's a really good finisher. Like if you're a graveyard deck and you just have that in your graveyard at some point, if people are low enough and the game's long enough, you just encore it out, and you have a little winning condition in your graveyard, which is nice.
Never mind. I'm thinking of the Elturel Exile cards.
Look it up on my
Never mind. I don't remember which the name is, but I know which one.
editor will pop it up.
You're exposing our process. We don't have any computers in front of us. Turns out we don't know anything about cards nor sponsorship segments.
We've forgotten everything.
Turns out we're just meat puppets.
These youths, they're nothing without their computers.
Okay,
Like,
Seth, hit us. Did you remember
All
your
right.
mechanic?
Oh yes, I got it. So Commander games, a lot of times they get really slow. People dirtle around trying to set up their stuff. So the mechanic I really like in Commander is Goad, because Goad actually makes the game progress, right? I know. I see you laughing at me, Graham. I know.
Who are these players
Yeah, who-
setting up?
Who made Seth say this? He likes goat?
Can you read off the
I-
prompt right
I
there?
I have a Goad deck. I have a Furkrag Goad deck. So Goad just makes it so you force a creature, or in some cases, all of someone's creatures, to attack the next turn, but they can't attack you. Unless you're down to 1v1, then they can attack wherever
The
they want.
mechanic doesn't work and your whole deck
Yes,
falls apart.
yes, then the whole deck falls apart. But when there's a full table, it's actually really cool because you're making people attack, you're getting in damage, and you get to still dirtle. That's the upside of the mechanic. You just make other people fight, but you can still sit back and cast your Muldrifters and
don't-
draw your cards.
I don't like all these dirtle players, so I'm gonna dirtle while you
I'll
guys
make you
are
kill each
cool.
other while I dirtle, yes.
Also, I thought you don't like stack, Seth.
That is
Is
that.
Goad to
You're
stack?
forcing me to do something I don't want to do, Seth.
It's something you should be doing
It's
anyway.
more of that he's preventing you from doing what
You're
you want,
preventing me
which
from
one-
having blockers.
or hitting the person you want to hit.
Yeah, which is you.
But I like it's a good mechanic that I think that keeps
It
the game moving and it keeps attacking going in different directions, which I like.
I'm giving you a hard time. I love it.
I think Goat is definitely a very cool mechanic, and they've started to play more in that space. So I love seeing that. It's aggression while it's also control in a weird way.
The craziest one is Taunt from the Rampart, I think.
Is
Like,
that the
Whoa.
Gorgeous one?
yeah, goad everything and
Gorgeous
nothing
one.
can block until your next turn.
Cool.
It's insurrection.
You also get a free attack in. Like
Yeah,
when you
yeah, it
pass
always kills.
you get a free attack because they can't block you. And then once the turn goes around, they're killing each other, and they're probably tapped down at that point, and then you get another free attack, and you finish
So
finish
good.
the game.
It's 5 mana.
There's also the Overload one that's like give everything double strike and go to until the next turn, like something showdown,
Oh,
Yeah,
spectacular showdown.
That's from
Yeah.
the Furcrack.
That's
Recon.
one of that's
And also
one
one
of
of
the best finishers.
One of the
Very good.
strongest Boros commanders, in my opinion, is the Nelly Borka,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah.
just keeps doing so much work despite not looking very good. Like she helps you draw you and your opponent who's attacking other people draw cards, but like it's so like low key strong. It doesn't look like a strong commander, but I keep seeing it overperforming.
It just looks like a Boros card.
It looks like a
which is not exciting. yeah.
I just think how Goat falls apart 1v1. They need to like change it somehow so it does something useful when you're down to 1v1, but you're like, wow, hello, Tomer. I have 8 cards in hand. They do nothing. They all
No,
goad you.
they made one card. It's like if your opponent's creatures are goaded and it's 1v1, you can threaten, you can steal their creatures and attack with them. It's like Pursuit of something. It's like it came out in the Nelly
like if a
Borka
goaded
list.
creature attacks you,
Yeah.
Maze of Visit, I don't know. That's why too strong, right? Take half
Yeah.
damage or something. Like that would be okay.
I wouldn't mind. I like the idea that you can't just be all in on goad. Like you have to finish the job yourself. Like
But we want to build a goad deck, Tomer.
yeah, but it's just kind of like I don't know. It makes it too much of a one trick.
I think you just build a go deck so you try to kill everyone at once. I think it's
Yeah.
the best way to do it. Like if you can just take out the whole table.
Yeah.
All right. I'll throw you guys a curveball. My favorite mechanic for Commander? Shroud.
Oh God, I thought you were gonna say
You-
attractions.
Shroud, okay? Because Hexproof and Ward are super abused, right? Like, you know, that you want to interact, right? You want to interact, and you put Hexproof and Ward to stop interaction, and then you like load up, you like Voltron this, you like make it so everyone wants to interact, but they cannot. But Shroud is fair. No one can interact, including you. And also, Shroud is an old mechanic, and they stopped making it, so all the cards are old and balanced.
True.
Right? So the worst thing is when you have Volja, and then you slap Ward on it, right? Or you know, there's Ward that's supposed to be safe for Hexproof, but like Ward nowadays is like sack your whole board, discard your hand, Ward. You're like, that's just Hexproof at this point.
Yeah.
Right? So Shroud prevents all of this abuse, and it's also on older cards that are not overpowered. Right? So the worst thing is having a snowball commander that's untouchable and you just can't interact with it. So I actually like Shroud. They should bring back Shroud. The reason they removed it is people got confused, right? They're like, wow, let me enchant my shrouded creature. It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Unless you reanimate the.
Let's just teach them. Let's just teach them the rule. And then we can have fair about this this creature is as is. You cannot modify it in any way. Shroud, here we go. So
Well, Voja can still. Just keep growing. If anything, Shroud is irrelevant. I would rather have Ward where I have the chance to Void Rend.
the chance to sack your whole board.
Look,
Crimin is Void Rend.
I'm not. I'm here
But
to
I
pitch
can
you up the
Void
good
Rend it.
word of Void Rend. But on top of that, like legitimately the ability to remove the untargetable spot for a cost, I would rather that than just never be able to target at all. So Ward has got to be
teach
better.
you
than
your favorite mechanic, Edicts.
You don't gotta teach me that I know about edicts. But what if I don't have a premier mechanic and thing like edicting somebody in my hand?
I think Ward's better than Shroud too, actually. I like Shroud better than Hexproof for
Sure,
sure.
yeah.
But the reason I like Ward better than Shroud is there's just way more knobs you can turn. You can go everything from like Ward 1 up to sack creatures, up to what's Ygra's, like you gotta sack a food token. So I like how there's more options when Shroud is just always Shroud. But I do think it's way better than
I do
Hexproof.
like that it has a drawback, but also like I don't know. I do like that Voltron decks exist. I guess you use other cards to give them indestructible and whatever, and that's more fair.
But
But
make
then-
your garbage creatures.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I have a Voltron deck, I want to be able to play cards that give my thing indestructible, and then Shroud just stops that.
Look, I like the restaurant where they're like no substitutions, no additions. We make the dish, you eat it, that's it, right? That's
As
Shroud.
the chef wanted you to have it.
That's Shroud, right? As Magic designers intended. No abuse of
But
mechanics.
then I can't equip my culture pieces to it.
That's a blessing. That is a
What?
blessing because it removes the temptation of you wanting to add the cards into your deck, the cards of culture.
They do equip themselves, so I guess.
Oh,
you know,
true.
I mean,
Oh, great.
All right, Phil, mechanic us.
Yeah, so my mechanic isn't really Commander specific, but it gets played way different in Commander than in 60 card Magic, and that is a Cascade. You've seen me
Whoa.
Cascade on
I
Clash?
can't believe Phil is
I
picking-
promise it's better in paper.
I've seen him whiff on so many
He's
cascades.
the worst Cascader
So
I know.
I
yeah.
play a Cascade deck in paper,
Phil loves it.
and I think at MagicCon Amsterdam, I completely steamrolled the table with it and cast my entire deck. So it can happen. Not on Clash though. The thing is, in 60 card Magic, Cascade is always abused, and you always get the same spell and win right away. But in Commander, it's just fun and fair and random, and anything can happen. It is a little scary. I play Maelstrom Wanderer, and people just say this could be anything, and then it's often just two nature's law, and whatever. But it is. It's Cascade.
I actually do like it though, because I think you hit on a good point that it actually plays how it's supposed to be played.
Yeah.
Because the idea of Cascade and Discover is really cool, right? You play this thing and you get another random thing, and it's this big exciting moment, but it never plays out like that
Comic
outside.
60, no way. yeah, what are you?
Do you build your deck around Cascade mechanic?
No, you just like
So let me
there are
teach you
some
the
tests.
secrets of Bloodbraid Elf. When you play Bloodbraid Elf, you don't play Fatal Push because you don't want to cascade into a Fatal Push and do nothing. You play the Bolt to make sure the Bolt goes to someone's face. So
Okay.
do you remove
So the counters
like a
in
counter spell from
Yeah,
your deck so
no.
that you don't cascade into a counter
I
spell?
do have my counter spells can counter my own commander, so it's Arcane Denial and Gale's Redirection, so I can counter my own commander if I cascade into it to draw cards or recast it for
Yo,
free.
talking about like 8 mana
No,
draw
no.
card.
So Gale's Redirection, though, I can recast it for free, so I get an extra
Ooh.
cast trigger. So that one's pretty cool. But yeah, so no.
You build around it though.
Yeah, I do build around it.
You don't
a bit.
run
There's
cards that
Delayed
will whip.
Fireball Blast. Yeah, no straight up riffs.
No
I guess.
X spell.
You gotta be a
He
gamer.
says this, but this is like every episode. He's
X
cascaded to counter
Not
spells.
many.
That's true.
Not many,
That's
yeah.
true. It's true. On Clash, I don't do this. If I play it, because I don't play a dedicated Cascade deck. Maybe I should do that. I build a dedicated Cascade deck where I can't whiff. I'm still gonna do it on Clash though. It's gonna happen.
But in Commander, though, you also can just like play Apex Devastator, right? You can just jam that in any deck and be like, something cool is gonna happen, and you don't got to build around it at all. And like, even if it fails, sometimes it's still gonna be a really cool moment.
No, because he failed.
Not,
Phil
even a
has had the
better
worst
moment when you
luck
feel like
ever.
Phil failing on Cascade is.
Because that's what
It's
he does,
still a
right? He
tender.
just put Apex Devastator in a random deck, and then he's like Expel, Nature's Lore.
Yeah,
Like,
the
great.
X-Spells are brutal. I would
Counter spell.
yeah. So in
Doppelganger.
my
Great.
in my Cascade commander deck, I don't play Open the Way or something. So no X-Spells.
But you gotta live by the randomness. You put the arcane denials.
Can't do
You
this.
put all of that in there, so there are whiffs.
You gotta scroll rack,
Yeah.
divining top. You know,
You gotta have,
be
like,
sweaty.
You gotta put
set
a
it up.
random like phage in there too.
Oh
So
my
that-
God.
Every once in a while, you just die. Like that's.
Wait,
part of
is
the
it
fun.
is Phage cast from hand?
Yeah, you
But-
have
Yeah,
to
because
cast it
of
from
hand.
I thought it's
Yeah,
just
because
cast.
of
yeah,
hand,
no,
you
there's no
die.
Phage in there as well. I gotta.
I don't know how
disappoint
you put
there.
that in Maelstrom Wanderer, but I would allow you to rule zero it in. like
Yeah, I rule zeroing phage in my Maelstrom Wanderer. I just randomly
Hold
die.
on, I would ask you to reread me. Clarify again. What are you rule zero, Tomer?
All right, mechanics we don't like for Commander. Tomer.
All right. So there's not a lot of mechanics that I don't like, and people already took the ones that I was thinking about. So instead, I'm going to make my own mechanic, and it's the do you pay the X or do you do the X? Surprise, surprise, I don't like Rhystic Study. I don't like Smothering Tithe. I don't like even Esper Sentinel or Captivating Vampire. Anything that says, hey, opponent, do you want to do this minor inconvenient thing? Or if you don't, I'm going to get a huge benefit. So Rhystic Study, do you pay the 1? If not, I'm going to draw a card. Smothering Tithe, do you pay the 2? If not, I'm going to make a treasure. Nobody can even pay that ever. Captivating Vampire, do you want to have your thing intapped or else I make a 1/1
Okay,
life?
Wait,
Charismatic
that captivating
one.
vampire is the
Lord,
lord,
yeah.
Oh
right?
no, what's a charismatic conqueror, right? Or that's the one. Charismatic conqueror. Can I make a 1/1 vampire if your thing enters the battlefield time? I feel like all these things, they're cool on paper, but then when I see them in practice, they just slow down the game to crawl because it's like trigger, trigger, trigger all the freaking time. And then every single time the person's always in the tank on whether or not they should or shouldn't, or if they can or can't pay the 1 on this. And it just like makes Commander slow and miserable, and then people play it poorly, and at that point is like you're supposed to say no. Like I have to be responsible, I have to pay, I have to have my thing enter the battlefield tapped or whatever, and then the game, and then it's fine. But people aren't doing that, and if you are the responsible one, then you use lose. Like it's just bad. I hate these
Wait,
mechanics.
is this a mechanic rant or a card rant?
I hate these
Everyone
cards.
paid the one.
I hate these cards.
Would it
Tomer,
be
Do you
okay?
like to play Magic? Because it sounds like maybe you don't.
I
like playing
don't like
Magic.
these X cards.
Okay, Tomer, I got a question. How about trouble in pairs? So rather
I
than
hate this.
asking a question on every spell at the end of turn, you go through a checklist. Like, did you cast
Yeah.
2 spells this turn? Did you attack me 2 creatures?
I think it's much better because it's just a trouble in pairs person doing the stuff. Like they have to think about the triggers. They have to think about the stuff. They don't have to ask the question on every single game action you take on your turn. They just shut up and then they say at the end of turn, this triggers, I draw a card. I think that card's overpowered as hell and is like a design mistake, but is not close to the level of annoying and bad as the do you pay the X? Do you do the thing? Do you
Yeah,
do
but-
the blah? Do the
Tomer,
blah? Do the blah? Do the blah?
Counterpoint. You know when you're playing D&D or something
Yeah.
like that, and you've got the one person that's in the party that's just on their phone.
Yeah.
This is how you check that person. Hey, you back into the game.
Well, that's what I was gonna say though. Like, you kind of joke, but maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Like, the upside is it does kind of keep everyone engaged. Like, even if it's not your turn, like you have to pay attention to the game and interact with your opponents.
play
Or you could just no, you
Wow,
could,
that
you could
is-
just be like,
yes.
oh, just pay the one. I never pay the one. Like some people I know
Who do that?
who just says flat out no,
What
and then the
kind of
card's
monster?
overpowered as hell. Like I feel like it never plays out well. I think it should play out well in theory, but all those cards, I just say throw them into the sun. I hate all of them.
I love all.
I played
Of course I do.
I think they're hilarious.
I think I agree with Tomer, and I will say it's a card should have a maximum of 4 triggers and it blows up. The problem is this thing triggers like 60,000 times, right? That is the problem. If it triggered 4 times and that was it, it would be fine. Right?
Then those cards suck though. Didn't they just print a white card?
That would be a 3 mana draw 4, still good.
Isn't there a white card that
Still
like
great.
slows
Yeah,
down the
there's
first
three
4
knocks.
spells and
It's
then you
a
draw
Thalia.
cards and then it goes away?
four-knock?
But
It's
like
like a
no one plays
Thalia.
it because it's temporary.
Yeah,
No,
charitable
It's
levy.
not broken
Yeah.
enough.
Levy.
It's so
But
I
it's the
thought
same
the,
thing. Like Nadu triggers like a billion times. Trouble in pairs. Mother. They all trigger a lot, and that triggering, either you're asking questions or you're resolving them, and it takes a ton of time up.
takes
So-
so
right?
much
So
time.
a card should only trigger X times. That's the maximum rule.
So does this mean we like the once per turn restriction that we also complain about all the time and everyone hates? Like, is that the solution?
I
It's
know.
just like
Fourth
only
per
triggers
game.
once per turn.
So,
on it.
so it should be.
Like Esper Sentinel.
So
only
as per
for-
so when you play a weenie, so Mega Welcoming Vampire is when you play a weenie, draw 2 cards, trigger once,
once.
yeah.
right? Because you just wanted to draw more than 1 card. Is really what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So just give me like 3 cards every time I play something
Like-
and trigger once.
Like
right?
Ristic, for example, these type of Smothering Tide. Even if Ristic just said at the beginning of your turn you draw 6 cards, I would actually be more fine with that because at least it's being honest. You know, like it doesn't waste everybody's time.
Where are you getting these numbers from? I've never seen a Ristic draw that many cards. Everyone
Never
else
been to
pays.
CDH
What?
yet?
Oh, in CDH, sure,
would be like
sure.
20 cards. This one is just like, yeah. Or it's just like, could it just be a one-sided sphere of resistance? Could we just print that and then just be like, good? Can we just chill with it? I hate
It's
it.
crazy how much worse this would be than actual Smothering Tide. Like once you give people the chance to not pay, it's a way better cards, but people just don't see it this way.
No one ever
And
pays
I'm
for Smothering
guilty
Tide
of it.
anyway.
Well, Smothering Tide 2
Oh,
is wild.
Smothering
but
Tide is
one,
crazy, yeah.
Ristic's
like-
one, fine.
And the Charismatic Conqueror could have just been a blind obedience. Like, that's what it does. It's like your artifacts and creatures enter tap. That's what it's saying, right?
Oh
That's what-
no,
that's what
that's giving the player the option.
But I
to
hate
make
the
the
option. It
decision.
slows down the game, and then you're like, oh, should I?
dude,
Oh, do I need a blocker? Oh, do I need that mana?
and I gotta think.
Yeah, exactly. This is what it sounds like. I have to play Magic.
There's
oh,
enough
God.
thinking. There's enough thinking involved. I don't want that to bogging down one card, bogging down the entire game. No.
Tomer, I love fast games. You know that I've preached that enough times. I want to try to like let's close the door on somebody quick. But I still love these little minor interactions. I think they're
Ugh.
fun for the game. I don't know.
Ugh. All right. So what do you hate then?
Oh, I guess I don't even know if I've seen these cards played, but it's a mechanic that I always want to play these cards, but they're so bad. They came from the Battle Bond set. It's Assist. And I know that it's meant to be for like Two-Headed Giant and whatnot, but like these cards are so overpriced, like play of the game, just exile all non-land permanents. and then like
It's
any
8 mana.
it's like 9 mana,
Yeah.
and then any amount of your opponents can pay 6,
No, any
these-
other players.
or any other players can pay
Can pay
6.
towards it, yeah.
These always look so fun as someone who loves to like bring in the rest of the table to pay and play and do all these things, but never ever does anybody want to actually have any of these effects go off. So it's just like this 9 mana exile all permanents kind of thing. I wish these cards were more playable. I think the idea of somehow getting your opponent to, do something with you and like tandem to partner up is fun. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe that's what demonstrate and gift kind of is, right? Like these are things, hey, your opponent gets some kind of upside. But I wish assist was maybe like it would exile all games, and anybody that helps pay for the cost draws like 2 cards.
Yeah, some
That
sort
would
of
be a cool-
reward.
Hear me
for-
out. I didn't know this card existed, and I think it might be a sleeper.
What?
So okay, here's the problem with playing a farewell. Okay, not only did you waste a card from hand, you wasted 6 mana and your turn to farewell. But with assist, you can be like, "Yo, Seth, we really need to rat the board. I
But
have
you
this
want to
garbage
double
rat
spell."
here. I need you to save 4 mana to
Yeah.
help me cast this farewell." And Seth will be like, "Well, I guess we gotta do it. We're gonna die." So I time walk Seth in addition to myself.
Yours
as I
always
farewell.
is.
It's always me,
It's
right?
always you.
And you will do it.
Richard always
will do it.
suckers you into doing it.
You will do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's
So
like a tempo gain, right?
Only if it's
So
you
deep down
too.
inside, I'll be thinking, why don't you just play a real Wrath Richard than leave me out of this?
I didn't draw. I didn't draw it. I didn't draw it. This is all you're holding you're holding like our revelation hand. You're like, I
You're
don't
like,
have.
oh, I don't, I can't. I have to pay.
And then you can
hold
scam
on.
people too. You're like, I'm gonna have to secret rendezvous first to dig. So Seth, you better hold
you
up
know,
like
my
8
mana,
mana.
yeah.
My
okay?
farewell's in another deck, Seth. I'm sorry.
But it's actually so you drag someone down with you.
I feel like I feel like in a play group it could work though. Like if we play those cards in Clash, I bet you probably could get people.
I'm gonna unironically try to play.
These
this.
are because even with that, these cards are way over
so
cost.
pricey.
Is that,
yeah.
that's 8 mana farewell.
No, 9
Nine.
mana.
I think it's 9
Is
mana.
9 mana
It's
farewell
9
not
mana.
just playable though?
No,
Is it
It's not
Exile?
fair.
it's
Wait,
exile, which is
all
nice.
non-land permanents.
But like how then you have to sit down, talk to the person you're trying to get in an agreement
But we
with.
play Ondu inversion. What's 1 more mana to
that's a
cast it?
land.
I mean, I think
Some of us play Ondu inversion.
I think the other downside is if everyone else doesn't want a Wrath, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, you
Like
have
if I'm like my board's pretty good, like sorry, I'm not gonna help you pay for that.
If you're the only one who wants it, also if people are just like tapping out, you have to tell them in advance. You're like, hey,
Next turn.
by the
Oops.
way, keep that mana open. And then the opponents is also like, oh, you're keeping that mana open. I'm not gonna cast anything this turn.
And also, how are you going to convince them to be like, hey, spend more mana on my wrath while I do extra things
Because
on
we're
my
all
turn?
gonna die otherwise.
I
It
think
works
so.
all the
Okay,
time.
that's
It works all the
No,
time.
it doesn't.
I think like I love these cards. I just think they were a little bit overcosted. Like if they were just you shave off like 2 mana from
What's a
that.
good man? 7 mana farewell.
I think
8. Well, it doesn't hit graveyard.
Doesn't hit graveyard.
But it's not modal. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna leave
guess
the-
it's not
my
modal.
creatures
You're right.
alone.
Remember too, these were printed not really for Commander. They were really printed for Two-Headed Giant when you would have a teammate that would always be agreeing to pay with you. So maybe they were priced
When you're still
for
paying
that.
9 mana.
I
Yeah,
still
oh my
think,
God.
yeah, like I think they're very cool in Two-Headed because in Two-Headed Giant you share the same turn, but you don't share the same the resources. You don't share the same land. So like if I have like too many lands, I'm mana flooded and stuff, and you have a lot of gaps with assist spells, then I can be like, okay, we can compensate. Actually, I can pay all my mana into your assist spells. But
Is this the most playable of them?
there's
there's
also
like
a Psych
counter
Rift.
spell, yeah.
There's a Psych Rift that is like there at Sorcery
They're all
Speed.
You
very
get a wheel or something?
Yeah, the Psych Rift I think is also like 8 mana or something like that. It's just like,
Just take like 1 to 2 mana off all of these, and they'd be great.
like the mechanic itself, I have it as a mechanic I don't like, but I think it's mostly the cards. They're just so
Bring it back.
overcosted.
Bring it back,
back.
Gavin.
And it doesn't need to be in Battle Bond. Like I think genuinely there is a space for a card like this at a pod, right? Like of just 4 random people. Just make it so that there's an upside for the person paying for the mana. Because I think the mechanic its assist could be cool, but all the cards are so bad.
All right, Seth.
I got the worst mechanic of all time. I hate this mechanic so much. It's the day night
Attractions.
mechanic.
Oh.
It is the day night
You
mechanic.
They're
hate
the
them
best
more
of
than
all time.
attractions?
Yeah.
Wait, but
Wait, wait.
what's your
Attack
favorite
is the
three
best of
mana
all time.
value
So
prop?
I
Five.
play Celestis a lot.
Our balloon fan.
Celestis, it
Yeah.
gains life, it can loot.
It draws me
it's
cards.
It's a really good
But
3 mana
it
mana
uses the
rock.
day-night mechanic.
The problem is, it adds Day Night to the game. And if you don't know Day Night, it was basically the werewolf mechanic, but they redid it, and they redid it in a way that makes it so much more annoying. So once you play something as Day Night, it starts the Day Night effect into the game. Whenever someone passes their turn without playing a spell, it switches. And then if someone plays 2 spells, it'll switch back to the other one. The old version of this with the werewolves was fine because it only worked when your creatures were on the battlefield. The problem with Day Night is once someone plays a Day Night spell, in theory, you're supposed to track it for the rest of the game. Even if that Day Night card's gone, you still got to track it because in the future, someone might play another one. You need to know if it's day or night. And it is just miserable. It's just not worth tracking. Like, it's just, for the effect you get out of it, which is pretty minimal, it's just not worth tracking. So I think it was just a mistake. Like, they should have just made this mechanic in a different way and it would have been
so
fine. Because I like werewolves. Werewolves are cool and I like the back and forth mechanic. But the tracking is just a nightmare.
Can you actually tell me what it does right now off the top of your like? Okay, I always get confused. It's like 2. If any player casts 2
So it's only
on their turn.
So Day
Active
Night is
player.
only the person on their turn. Old
Yeah.
werewolves was any player. So this is on
Okay.
your turn. So if it's
Then at the
day,
start of the next turn, it becomes the
it
next.
switches. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So wait,
if the card that introduces it gets removed, you still need to track day-night
Yeah.
because you can cast a new card that
Right.
enters on the night side.
right,
Which-
correct.
And also,
Always got Drake standard with that.
also technically,
I can't tell how many people play
Brutal
Brutal
Cathar.
Cathar. Yeah,
Brutal
I got
Cathar.
him. No, you don't. It's
Nope.
nighttime.
it's also technically the onus on everybody to track day and night. Though I would say, in a real play group, whoever introduces day and night has to be tracking it for the rest of the game. right?
Honestly, I think most people I've heard just house rule it that they play like old werewolves. And they
Yeah,
just
like,
don't
if it's
track
gone-
it. You don't
if it's
track
gone,
it
you
if it's
don't
not in the
track it.
game.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I think what 99% of play
Yeah.
groups do. And I think that's probably
But
the right
how
thing
though?
to
That's
do.
so because if you use any of the new werewolves, it does care about day or night.
Well, if you're a werewolf player,
So I
then
think if you're a
you-
werewolf
yeah.
player, you care. But if you're just playing a random Celestis,
Yeah, if
you're
you're
just
running
like, I don't know, whatever, right?
They did it so future werewolves
three
enter on
animals?
the so there's no day and night version at the same time, right? That could work with old werewolves, or did
No,
they?
old werewolves would come front side up. on
They
the
would
left,
always,
right?
but you could have some on the backside and some on
Yeah,
the front
so they
side.
wanted to prevent that.
Play
like-
them, so they could be flipping back, and forth at the same time.
And then you moon miss your tokens. I don't know what's going on. This is like so confusing.
And it was even worse because it didn't actually work with the old werewolf mechanic, which made it even more awkward that like you're trying to make these two werewolf mechanics and they didn't play well together. So it's just a disaster.
Isn't there like City's Blessing is also like an emblem that you introduce while you cast a card and then it stays there, but at least it doesn't.
It's just static.
It's
forever.
static.
Yeah,
It's
it
yeah.
just exists. It's like an emblem basically,
Yeah.
right? Like once you get it, you just have
No one
it.
uses it. They just count and just pretend you have it forever. You don't
Yeah.
actually track
Once you
it
get to 10,
usually,
you
right?
just have it. Yeah.
Because theoretically, you could get Armageddon, go back to, but you still have the city's blessing from before, right? But usually doesn't happen. All right. A mechanic I hate, which will surprise most people, is the secret rendezvous mechanic, aka the Skullwinder mechanic. These are all Richard's favorite cards, by the way. This is
What if you hit them? What?
you do something and target opponent does something. Okay, so Secret Rendezvous is 3 mana, draw 3 cards, target opponent draws 3 cards. Right? And in 1v1, that's balanced because your opponent gets to do something, right? So it's like symmetrical, therefore it kind of sucks. In Commander, it's a 3 mana draw 6 for your team, which is like super overpowered. Right? So I don't like a 1v1 mechanic that's taken into Commander and then co-opted for nefarious means, right? So Skullwinder, same thing. Seth, I need that parallel.
Why is it always
send it to
Seth?
Seth, right? But
He
Yeah.
does get you.
It does.
The hunted cycle, right? The hunted horror, 2 mana, 7/7 black, right? So 2 mana, 7/7, and opponent creates 2/3/3 centaurs that have pro black. So the idea in 1v1 is you just net like 1 power if you're just bouncing off each other. But in Commander, that's 13 damage insta at someone's
On
face
turn 2.
on turn 2, 6 of which has haste, right? If you choose someone after you, right? And that's just incredibly broken. So I don't like these weird 1v1 mechanics that just get co-opted for Commander.
So we
Isn't that
went.
why they're
from-
cool?
We went from Secret Rendezvous is playable, you guys, to Secret Rendezvous is overpowered, you guys. I can't. No.
Okay, Secret Rendezvous update. You guys all memed on me. Do you guys think it's trash?
Yes.
Don't think it's
Average
trash.
It's
or
still trash.
amazing?
It's trash.
I don't know. I
trash.
never got targeted, but
Yeah, I never get targeted, so it's trash.
It is
Garbage.
literally in every single white deck ever. I have targeted Tomer multiple times, and you
Yes.
still think it's garbage.
Why
Yes.
not me, Richard?
I-
Why won't you
wait,
target
wait.
me,
It's
Richard?
it's overpowered when I'm being targeted by the other person who has to run it. Like that's great. Then I think it's like the best card ever. But if you put it in my deck, it's the worst card ever.
You're still drawing 3.
Yeah, because Richard paid 3 mana and spent a card and put it in his deck and then targeted me with
But
it.
no, even if you're Richard, you're still drawing 3 cards for 3 mana. You still get a painful truth.
Well, I'm drawing 6 because I'm getting Tomer to dig for farewell, right? Like in reality, this is how we use it, right? So,
Well, it would be me.
or
but-
Tomer is so out of the game that it no longer matters.
But that's
It's like,
usually
oh.
where I'm at.
This is because Tomer's always stuck on like 2 lands or something, right? But
Then why even play it at all and just play a draw spell for yourself?
because 3 mana draw
There's
3 is
not
premium.
one.
You
Like-
can't get that many 3 mana.
Okay, let me
draws.
ask you this. Let's say there was just a 3 mana white draw 3. Which one would you play?
Both.
What if you could only play
you
one?
have to choose one.
That's a struggle.
Like, which would be better out of those? And you would.
So I would have a mixture. So if I had like say 5 card draw spells, I'd probably go like half,
Okay.
right? Because it really like I use Seth all the time.
So you would-
we were like we need to draw 6 cards to Wrath or Phil untaps and wins.
Don't let him get away with
This is
it.
definitely a wake up call to how many times you let Richard sucker you.
Richard's just telling you, okay?
I mean, sucker you.
No, he's
You
not.
wanna
He's
draw 3.
into believing
We
for
need
the
the
good of
wrath.
the table.
Richard like sitting on the rat. Seth, you really need to.
What
find
you
the-
don't know is like half the time I'm holding an an Anduin version
Yeah.
in hand, right?
It's
But
because of
He's
that I
telling
will.
you. He's
openly-
telling you. He's admitting it.
This is exactly why we lost that game because your planeswalkers all altered. Because I assumed Richard had it, but it was the one time he
so,
didn't.
so Skullwinder is the absolute best, right? Because it's essentially a tutor out of your graveyard for 2 players, but I can see
gonna-
your graveyard and I
Yeah.
can choose.
That's
and
why I
I
like
can
it.
manipulate it the exact way I want.
Yeah.
So like, and that card is insanely cracked. And okay, when you guys are still on the Eternal Witness.
I'm on.
I
still,
play
no, I'm on
Skullwinder
Skullwinder.
sometimes.
I've always
you
been
guys
Team
Skullwinder now. But
I've
it's, like,
always been Team Skullwinder.
so insanely broken.
But Skullwinder is like literally, I see the card I want you to get, and then be like, okay, if I target you, will you take that one? And if you agree, then I'll target you.
What if
not, I'll
everyone says no?
Then I'll just choose the problem person and be like,
the
"Deal with it."
spite.
Yeah.
I do remember that one. What is it? What's the 1 mana tutor where it allows you and another player to tutor a
Oh,
player to the top?
symmetry?
I think Seth was in a position of power, and I was like, all right, well, Seth, here you go.
Oh,
now
so
you
you have
all
to-
have to kill Seth or else.
That one's good too because it goes to the top of your deck. Like I can't draw this guy, so I could tutor for the Wrath, but I can't draw it. So Seth, your next in turn order, you get that Wrath.
The Wrath. Spend your turn casting it.
Secret tutoring.
So it's funny, but I feel they're so strong. And when they keep making more, and the ultimate card is what? Trade wins? Trade routes or whatever? Trade secrets.
The ban card?
It's just straight up ban because 2 players just secret rendezvous themselves to oblivion, right? They both draw their entire deck and it's banned, right?
Yeah.
So when Wizards makes the secret rendezvous 3 mana draw 4, it's probably too much. 3 mana draw 8 between 2 people.
3 mana draw 4, I would then maybe look at.
I would look at, yeah.
I would look at.
That'd be.
The opponent draws for us.
Sure, but like, if I'm netting 4, it has to be more than the mana I spent, right? Like, I think every mana should be a card, and then some. So, yeah, I know. I'm asking because it's
So secret rendezvous with the trouble and pairs out is a 3 mana draw 4.
If Secret Rendezvous was like, you draw 3 and your opponent draws 1, then I'd be like,
Oh yeah,
Oh.
great.
Well, that's,
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
pretty good.
that's kind of busted.
What's that white card that you play all the time where
Cut
we
a
each
deal.
draw
Cut a
a
deal.
cut a deal?
Yeah.
I think that's fun, right? Because well, what is it? You draw a card,
Draw 3. I draw 3. So you each draw 1, and I draw 1 for.
each person
It's Secret Rendezvous, but it's split up.
costs
Yeah.
3, right? Yeah, I think that card's sweet.
isn't it?
What
4?
about the temper is under attack? I think that also can give you.
That's like a
stuff.
mini.
No,
one,
that's a
right?
divination. We don't play divinations anymore.
That's
But it's
below.
also
Three mana
a
draw too.
protect
Wrath
spell,
protection,
though,
yeah. I play
Like
that
this
one
one I
sometimes.
like. I always forget it exists though. So.
That's the most playable.
That
for
one's
me.
tough though because you have Secret Rendezvous that's better at drawing cards, and then you got like Flawless Maneuver and stuff that's
Yeah,
better. So like
true.
you get the flexibility, but I don't know if it's worth it over just playing the other.
Ferris
options.
protection.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's like Dredge. Dredge is like so cute, Delve, right? But then Magic players just insanely abuse them and break them, and they're like too powerful, right? But the mechanic itself is like kind of cute, right? So I like the idea of this interaction, but they're not costed the same way. Like 3 mana draw 6 for your team is insane, right? And teams are dynamic. We can change teams like all the time, right? So normally I can make it do a 3 mana draw 6, and it's been like 4 years, 5 years, guys. It hasn't like like the number of times it's backfired versus the number of times it's like total clutch. I'm like so convinced.
I'm not converted.
3 mana draw 4. Oh,
I like the gift cycle from Bloomborough. They basically did it again with
The-
the full set mechanic.
The Teferi's Pro is so good from that set. I've been playing the 6 mana one. Yeah, you give someone else an extra turn and you piece out. That card is
Yeah.
genuine, like the truth. That card is the truth.
It's good for Drago.
we haven't
Oh,
seen
yeah,
it
it is.
abused yet, right? But you're like, Tony,
Oh, I was
I'll
about
give you
to
an
abuse
extra
it.
turn.
I
You kill
didn't-
Seth, please.
Phil,
I
Phil
didn't
did
have the
it.
card. So, does this release before this episode comes out? I don't
Oh,
know.
we don't know when the episode
No,
comes.
but
I don't
Phil
know.
might have casted it. In
I wanted to abuse it. I didn't get to. So I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah,
But the card is good. And
Yeah.
I think the gift cycle is a very good mechanic
No,
inside
Inkfield,
the. Nothing will ever be Inkshield, though. So
We've never seen a single ink shield on
Never
Clash
seen
ever.
Shield.
By the
At
way,
least you guys have seen Secret Rendezvous.
I haven't been on that much. I haven't been on the. I don't know,
the themes,
Christmas fucking
the themes. I can't play
Play
Inkshield.
some Orzhov decks.
It's so hard because I just haven't had the chance to themes.
All right, Phil.
okay. So I first of all, to get this out of the way, worst mechanic ever is stickers. But since we're talking about Commander, the worst mechanic for Commander would probably be Infect.
Wait, stickers are legal in Commander.
Yeah,
They
stickers
are,
are
but, like I
legal
think
and
we all
nasty.
unanimously.
Yeah, I
agree.
think there's not much to it.
None of them exist anymore. They've all fallen off on floors in various places, so no
My
one can play them
Ambassador
anymore.
Blurp,
Yeah.
Blurp deck though.
You know we're talking about slabbing cards. We should just slab stickers.
Yeah, hey,
those were
Because
yeah.
In like 2 years, there'll be no stickers left.
the last one in existence.
Yo,
Yeah.
the sticker market card, like the little cards with them, those might actually be worth
That's the
something.
only 10 out of 10 in
Well, the
existence.
Mind Goblin, if that never got
The what
banned,
goblin?
Mind Goblin.
The Mind Goblin. Oh.
Bro, I had to learn the hard way what
The
the
what
Mind Goblin meant. By the way,
Okay, but Infect is just it's okay. So it's like whenever you get dealt poison by an poison already, get damaged by an infect creature. Instead, you get that many poison counters.
Yeah.
And you would think that if in 20 life magic you die from 10 poison counters, you would need 20 poison counters to die in Commander, but it's still 10 and you die right away. And somebody can just infect the creature up and you die right away.
I don't want to lie to you here.
It's
I'm
just
a little
quadruple
bit
damage.
in the boat with Tomer. In fact, it constantly gets brought up, but dude.
Have you?
it sucks.
So
It
I
sucks.
think I've
there's
never
like
played again.
3 good
no.
infect
Yeah.
cards.
An infect deck sucks, but there's 3 very playable infect cards, which will
Inkmoth
one-shot you.
Nexus?
Yeah, there's Triumph of the Heart.
I didn't even count that one. So Triumph of the Horde, which is an over. It's like all your
It's
creatures get
overrun.
But that's any overrun. That's an overrun.
Tainted Strike.
Yeah.
Tainted Strike.
Okay,
A creature gets
That's
+1/+0.
Yeah, Berserk.
That's Berserk and Hatred.
Okay, we're gonna do that. And then grafted exoskeleton. It's an equipment that gives, I think, +2/+2 and
Yeah.
infect. And then when you remove it, the thing dies, but
Yeah.
whatever.
It exiles, right?
But this basically makes it so like any 10 power
Sacrifice.
creature can become lethal.
Sure.
Right.
Also, I gotta say, I think I've never played against a proliferate deck that got an infect counter on somebody and the game didn't end by infect every time. It's just
What? Have
here's
you
the
ever
gun.
seen my deck?
is-
Wait,
Yeah,
you have
oh,
an
right.
infect deck?
It has
Maybe-
like a 0% win rate.
That might be a you.
Yeah,
It's
problem.
maybe
it's
that
like
was
a
it. Like,
negative
every other
EV.
time. It's just you don't need to do anything. It's just
Well,
oh,
maybe
this one
don't take
proliferates quite well.
15 turns to Dirtle.
That's my
Yo,
style.
prologue to Firesis and then Karn's Bastion. Or...
I think that might be a you problem.
Honestly, like if you look at all the infect, maybe the mechanic is powerful, right? But I just think everything it's attached to sucks. Like for the most part, I think there's a few good cards, right? Inkmoth Nexus, the things that Richard has mentioned, right? But 2 of those cards that you mentioned are just overrun effects and or something that's like a Hatred, Berserk. You could probably replicate it numerous other ways, but the Inkmoth Nexus is scary. Otherwise, it's
Oh,
just
1/1.
yeah. Well, that's most of the archetype. Just 1/1s and 2/2s.
I don't know if that is even good. The other 3 are the real problem.
So the reason why they like, I remember they were talking about like the RC or previous RC were like, yeah, it could be strong, but like there's just not enough out there to actually make it strong. Like in practice, it's never been taking over the games, and I think that was very true. And then there was a big, really debate when we had what March of Machines or whatever, and we brought back Toxic, and it's like, okay, now it's gonna happen. And then people played with the mechanic, and yet again, it's just, you don't hear about people like, oh my god, Infect's so overpowered, because it's just not.
Wait,
like
Been shamed out of their play
Okay,
groups.
I play a Black
I
Mirror.
also played that.
everybody was
I
like,
played
ah,
Black
this is gonna
Mirror,
be
and
the thing that
we'll
changes
see.
it.
We'll see how the table reacts. If I play a random, it doesn't do anything. Right? I play anything with Infect, and the table is gonna kill me just in case.
Okay.
I usually just do
But-
that
so
so I
why-
can throw blame.
Is that a point that it's overpowered and you should raise the poison counter, or that it's actually bad, like Krim is saying?
It's
Wait,
an
so
unfun play. It's like Stacks. Stacks sucks, right? But it's just everyone.
But then
it's
why do
unfun.
why
You
do
don't
we
want
need
it.
to raise the poison counter if it's ineffective even at 10?
How many
What?
how many overruns are on the salt scale though? Like Triumph of the Hordes is like pretty high up on the saltiest cards, and no one's putting overrun or overwhelming splat
But
like
that-
like
that's a mind thing. Or like
It is
that-
a mind
this
thing.
is a mind
It's
goblin
like a mind
situation,
goblin,
right?
yeah.
yeah, but if
like-
people don't like it, they don't like it.
but
the
it's
kill
not-
present.
You're cheating at like one of the core rules.
It gets
right?
around
You're
life
supposed to have
gain,
more
it
life.
gets around, yeah.
This is the same as if I were a burn player, and when someone is a life gain deck, I feel like I get upset, right? Like, oh my god, you're clearly cheating because you're gaining way too
Or
much life.
you combo killed me. You combo
Yeah.
4 cards. It's like,
yeah, but
try.
Triumph's one card. Like if you do a
Try,
four
but you
card-
need creatures.
it's just
You need
another
9
trade-off.
power creatures.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
And
so
you
the-
need to deal the damage, right? Like if they have blockers and stuff. And
It
messes up
is-
the math.
a little comparable to Mill, but in Mill you have 100 cards to get through, and that's more than 40 life. But in Infect, it's just easier. Like the other condition to kill somebody is way easier than the original one. With Mill, it's actual hard. Like it's like you have to mill, but every time you mill. It's 4 times. Whatever, no math, still jet
Okay,
lag.
wait. What do
But-
you think the community reaction is? So we infamously got the wrong gut reaction to the RC bannings. If Wizards tomorrow says Infect kills in Commander are now 20 instead of 10,
no one would care.
That-
would anyone care? Would everyone applaud it?
I mean-
would everyone riot? Like, what do you think?
Nobody would care.
No one would
'Cause
care, right?
Except for
it's so
people that
unpopular.
have like dozens of people that have an infect deck. They
Yeah,
probably-
like
other than that,
I have an infect deck.
no one would.
There's not a lot of people with infect decks. It had never been a problem. Like again, my deck doesn't win. But like if it got banned, then only a couple dozen people would be affected. But like I just don't hear anybody complaining about infect. Like realistically, like you could say it's like, oh, it's so much easier. But realistically, if it was so much easier,
Not.
people would be playing it. But they don't.
I
It's like no one
promise you
complains
it
about
is not
Armageddon
easier.
because it's been shamed out, right? If you look at the list, it's like no stacks, no combos, and what's usually after that? No infect, right? That's one of the things that
You
people
see, like the
rule zero
one
out,
ring
right?
up there in the salts. It's much saltier than Triumph of the Hordes, and yet a lot of people still play it. And the reason is because it's too good.
No,
like-
but the One Ring draws card. The problem with Infect is that it's so boring.
Boring to you.
You know what's boring? Watching a person take a 15-minute turn making tokens over and over again. All right,
It's fun for the
all-
person doing it.
it's
though.
all
The-
relative, all right?
The problem is that you're limited to just the cards that say Infect on it or Proliferate,
Yeah.
and Toxic. And
Like
that's
the
just
token deck
pretty
making
boring.
limited just to making tokens, and then whenever I make a token, I draw a card or something like that.
That's
Like it's the
half
same
of
shit.
every set.
It's the same
And-
shit. It's all the same
I would be upset if they went out and did that. And I don't even have an infect deck because at the
I'd
end of
be
the day,
mildly
I mean, in the
annoyed.
end, I don't
this is the
care,
same as
obviously, but
the
it feels wrong.
Neheb, right? I feel like out of nowhere, randomly Neheb got a bunch of strays
Yeah.
from a rules change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't better the format if they do this because I think the mechanics is like bad, like mostly because the creatures that they're attached to are bad,
There would be a couple dozen people who would be like, "Oh, my Neheb deck sucks now."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well,
which is unfortunate, right? So I would be upset if they went out and just changed the poison counter to now 20.
But isn't it just technically the correct number? Because it's supposed to be half
If
of
it,
your
was,
starting
if it was
life.
designed
Oh,
today
like,
with
if they
Commander in
today,
mind, it would definitely be
20.
20, right?
I would
But
say
then
your deck is even
would ex-
worse today because you have in Infect 1v1, maybe you get there. But with 3 other players, you are playing a Plague Stinger.
I would
like, just remember
expect-
this. You are playing a 1/1.
if we went 20 infect, 20 poison, I would expect better
Oh, yeah.
infect and poison cards. You know, like
no.
none of this
Yeah,
weak
that
shit.
would
Like
happen,
none of
though,
this
yeah.
toxic. Like give me actual
We're talking
good infect.
Infect Tarmogoyf,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
With Trample.
You think
I
so?
feel
give
you
me
just
more
banned
game
the
to
3
strike.
problematic cards and the rest are fine. Like, it's the ones that give non-infect creatures infect, essentially, are the problems, right? But if you were gonna make like a 3-mana 2/2 flying infect, like whatever. It's really like Volja has infect now, boys. Let's go, right?
And it's like, okay, so ban Craterhoof because it's too strong of an overrun. It's like, no.
Honestly, my problem with this
There will always be the best finishers.
Yeah,
and that's just like one of the good
Your finisher can come. So if I go hunted Wampus, Tainted Strike, like you like almost dead right there.
You're playing
Good.
Hunted Wampus. Like,
Then-
thank
then
you.
you got-
hard.
But then you got
Oh, hunted horror, not Wampus. Horror.
Okay,
Hunted
Hunted
horror.
Wampus, like, you do whatever you want, man. Like, I don't
Hell
care.
yeah, dude.
Hunted horror.
And then you gotta finish the job. Do it. Yeah.
It's turn 3, Tomer.
But what about the two
Okay.
other players?
No,
Like,
the problem with infect for me is honestly the proliferating. Is like, oh, you stabilize the board and stuff, and then it's like proliferate, everybody's dead. It's literally nuts.
Sheds all counters on you.
It's only like
There's
if you're
leeches.
playing
That's
hardcore
it.
Dirtle, then yes, but like that means any threat that's not like I attack you is gonna be scary for you.
Hey, it sounds like
the
I'm
same as
complaining.
Control
I'm do
versus
whatever,
Maze's End,
but
right? Like, I'm gonna
it
look at
feels
it the
wrong.
same as Maze's End. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I can't beat Maze's End because I'm a control.
Yeah, if you can't beat Poison deck and your deck is too slow to actually win before somebody says I proliferate every single turn, then focus that person down. Like obviously.
I mean, that's not how the deck usually works. It's like proliferate 6 times during my turn, right? It's not like one.
I don't-
per turn.
I
Are you talking
remember-
about Contagion Engine?
We're talking about like the fairway. Yeah, the fairway is fine, but we don't do it the fairway.
Or at least checking the community. We'll see in the comment section. But we did a video on it, and it was very much in favor of Poison being fine, if I recall.
I feel like
We did a poll on it. It was like overwhelmingly.
I feel it's been shamed out. It's like the same reason Armageddon is fine because it's been shamed out of the community.
You never play
right?
against
Like
it.
no one plays it, no one sees it. But okay, here's a real question. We're at
I brought
MagicCon.
Venser to MagicCon.
We're at
by the way.
MagicCon, okay?
Yeah.
You have an infect deck.
Yeah,
Do you feel the need to declare to people you have an infect deck as part of Rule Zero conversation?
I do.
I have one,
Yeah.
and I do.
Okay, so there is some problem with this. You just don't feel it's problematic enough to change.
It's the same. It's the same as like I say like, oh, I have an infinite combo because like I know some people are like I have a 4-card infinite combo, and I know people are like no combos, you know. So like I have to say it. I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, my deck it has like one of the worst win percentages out of all my decks. It doesn't do the
We
thing.
got it. We got a deck Dr. Infect.
Okay, do it.
It's called like what's the landfall proliferate card?
It's
Oh.
green, but
Yeah,
you have
you-
Flux
you-
Channeler.
You play that, yeah, or Flux Channel.
I have
There's a
it.
bunch of
Play
ways to
Livewire
proliferate, like a.
Lab.
One eternity later.
All right, technical difficulties. Camera died,
Mhm.
but that brings us to the end of our best and worst mechanics for Commander. We've agreed on nothing once again.
we agree. Infect is fine.
In
I
fact,
guess.
we'll check back after MagicCon. Tomer's only playing Infect the entire weekend.
See how
We're gonna poll the community.
keep a spreadsheet of how many people get salty.
We're gonna check the Twitter to see how amicable Tomer was.
Maybe I make a poison mill deck.
Oh, that's so sick! I would be down.
Every time I poison you, I mill you one. There's Decimator Web that actually does it. It's like mills you
It
10
kills
or
you in
something.
like every way possible.
Yeah, the salt.
All right, that is it for the podcast. We'll see y'all back next week.